Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, because we know that there are a lot of, with the advent of technology and with the availability of mobile phones as well as data at cheap rates, what is happening is everyone is nowadays using the internet facilities. But we do not know what are the rules that we need to follow, because for everything there are certain rules. If we do not follow the rules religiously, we are bound to invite certain troubles. Therefore there's an adage too that is there, which is like prevention is better than cure. So in order to prevent the getting us into getting entangled in the crimes that are taking place, we need to be very vigilant. And for this we have brought this event for which we have a person who is a developer, a technical architect, and an entrepreneur. He'll be talking about cyber hygiene and basically the crimes and safety modes. But before that, we are honored to have with us our deputy director, who has consented to take time and preside over this session, Professor Shalivahan, and I request him to please speak a few words on this occasion. Sir, please.
Good morning, Professor Minali Pandey and the guest here. All of us are going through an age of cyber, and whatever you call it. We talk about when we were kids, we were talking about how smart we are. Then came the era of smartphone. Now, with the unfortunately the COVID coming up, or the COVID, fortunately the COVID coming up, all of us have become virtual. And now the era has come for a smartness in cyber security. When you talk about, we get a lot of messages. When you talk about phishing, we should not do it, we should do it, and all those stuffs happening. How much we are really concerned, how much we do some slippages here and there. I'll tell a story about my father. Two stories. One is that in the bank password, everyone said that you can have a special character and all. And to my astonishment, the other day, I was just trying to do some transactions and all. He had two special characters at the beginning and at the end. I don't have that. So you can imagine the elderly people are also becoming that really smart enough. So it's a high time to learn from these people, and none other than the guest for today, who will be talking and making us aware, and let us try to see that we follow some of his stuff, that we are safe. We are safe, and safe in the sense that other day I heard that someone, it's a very common that from my credit card some money has been debited, which I don't have an idea. From some income tax mail comes, which one to see, which one. A lot of things start coming up. We get excited. The things are very tempting, even that you are going to get this, you do it, and just with the moment you press it, you get it and all. And I personally feel OTP is my personal thing. No one should ask about that. So that's what I personally feel. But there's a guest is there who will be talking more on these issues. So let me invite him to deliver the talk, and let us all enjoy and understand his stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great, and it's really honored to have it here, and just speaking like this. I'm really grateful to the Minalini ma'am and our chief guest like Shalivahan, that he took the part and gave it this opportunity to speak. So I will just start, and I think most of the students have joined. So let me share my screen before I continue, and I will give you some examples, and then we can start what is cybersecurity and what is information security, how we can proceed. And what is the main features that particular, spammers, you have heard about spammers and hackers are trying to do nowadays in order to get very easily your Aadhaar card number, your like OTP and everything. So let me just share my screen, and then I can just, show you something. And please let me know if you can share my screen. Yeah, so I just make a very small change to this Chrome, and I can assure you this is google.com, and Google is celebrating Marvel events, but this is only applicable for certain users. And then you can just go and type it here, but this is not the reality actually. What I'm showing here, I just tweaked its image, a simple, very simple image. And if you if we just type google.com here, then you won't see anything. And the, any spammer or any hacker can convince you that this is for limited users only, and you won't see it. But you can see this in my computer, like Google is celebrating Marvel, and you will be able to get this amount of money, you will pay me, or you will anything like that. But if I just, refresh this page, a simple refresh, and everything will go reset. So this was just a small tweak that anyone can, depict you, or anything can show you like what's really going on. And you can be easily fooled, like, oh, I'm a big fan of Marvel, I'm a big fan of Iron Man, and I can just go and start. So yeah, now this was just a simple example. Now coming to the slides, and basically we confused about, cyber security and information security. So basically what is, when we talk about security, so what security from whom, security from like what like why do we need security, what is the purpose? So the most people confuse what is the difference between cyber security and information security. So when we say cyber security, mainly it's like online threats that we are currently facing. Okay, so online threats, if we say, suppose you get, nowadays we get random calls, like if you're using PhonePe, you won a 2000 rupees award, you just need to enter your password, and you can send it to me. And you get some emails like you won 1000 rupees, or the king of the some particular country needs money for his son or something like that, and if you transfer it like $2000 or 2000 euros, and then you can usually get huge millions of dollars in return, but you need to submit your money in particular account. So this kind of stuff I was talking about mainly. So what happens, when we talk about cybersecurity, it's basically online. It's related to our phone. It's related to our laptops and whatever, however we can digital media. We are talking about only digital media. But when you talk about the information security is basically related to everything. So if you say, it could be a physical record, a physical paper, or your information like your certificate, a 10 certificate, or anyone can, overlook over your shoulder when you are sitting on an airport or a railway station, and anyone can look and click your photo. So information security related to any type of security, like your banking password. Suppose you are going through you are having a passbook.
May I request you all to please mute your mic and keep it muted. If you want to ask certain things, you can type it there, and we can see to it that those questions we can take towards the end. But first, let the guest put forward his point. And please be sure that you keep your mic on mute. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Ajay, you can continue.
Yeah, so when we talk about information security, so suppose you are sitting on a railway station and you are checking your, say, at any like of Aadhaar card and anything you are holding in your hand, anyone can look over your shoulder, and then he can click a picture or whatever. You will never know how the data is being transmitted. So when we talk about information security, it's not only the digital media, it's related to anything related to your personal information, like your email ID or anything, like even your postal card or anything. Suppose you are sending a mail or a letter, and it got, the postman turned into a hacker, and that take away your postcard, then that would be a disaster. So online, offline, as information security is a big concept, a wider concept, and cybersecurity is a part of information security, where we can have only online media involved in this. So the cybersecurity, we already know about. I'm assuming everybody is from the like mostly using mobiles. I think everyone uses mobile nowadays. So it would be a very like anyone knows how phone pay, WhatsApp work. So last year, what I will give one example of information, like how information passed to the WhatsApp. Like one of my friend built a WhatsApp hack. So what that hack does, it shows your last seen always 2 to 3 days back time. It would never show you online. Okay. So that was one kind of a hack that we encountered, and that that basically my friend built. So whenever he got online, he can see anyone's if he's online or not, even if his visibility is off. And but no one can see his last seen status, because he's just manually typed it like 3 days back, and he was sending data to the server, and it was like 1 to 2 years before, so it's not working anymore. Now coming to the CIA, when we talk about the CIA triad, the CIA is basically not, I'm not talking about the Central Intelligence Agency of the US. It's like confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So when we talk about confidentiality, like your data should be yours only, and it's not, should not be like public display. So we may encourage you, like you can use your password protected or encryption, biometrics. Nowadays a lot of authentication methods are there: two-way authentication, multi-factor authentication based on location, eye, fingerprint. Anyway, recently there was a fingerprint vulnerability where your fingerprint is not secure anymore. Like there is a 1 to 2% chance where your fingerprint could be same as another person. So we are just moving ahead of that thing right now. So fingerprint is not secure anymore. So we are just going ahead with that. And integrity, it's like you should have accuracy about your data. It should not be tampered in any way. Like it should maintain its integrity. If you are sending ABC, then it should come in a proper type ABC and not ADB or AE. So integrity is like how we can retain our data with ourselves, and we can preserve it, its integrity. We can check there are methods like checksum and user access control that helps us to mainly verify our things. But in this today we will only cover the basic, only the basic of this, so that we don't have to go into much more detail like how actual programming works. I won't go into the main programming or anything in that. We'll just talk about the concepts, the ideas, and how someone can convince you to share your OTP and share your and make you transfer via UPI or phone pay. So there was this one incident last year. What one person does, he put a device above this ATM slot where we insert our ATM card. So what happens, this device was placed on top of that slot where we place our ATM, and it records all, and that keyboard is placed in the, so it records its number, it records everything, and it records the spin. So it was a huge, like like he was got arrested obviously at the end of the day, but yeah, that the people are doing right now. And availability is basically, it ensures that your data should be available when you need it. Like suppose you need to have backup. You are working in some company, like you are working in a multinational company, and you must need to have backups, and like disaster recovery plans should be there. What kind of data that you are going to, how you are protecting your data. You cannot protect your data if your data is online also, if your actual data is online also, and your backup is online also. If someone can hack into your online data, then it can also be tampered your backup data. So when Sony Pictures was hacked, like in 2016, I guess, Sony Picture got hacked regarding some movie. So it says like, they cannot trust on their backups. Okay. So there was a huge, like talk about this. We'll talk about how the hackers got into Sony Pictures and how they attack the Iran and Estonia. There are different countries that already been attacked. But basically, the CIA is maintaining your data, like confidentiality, and having your integrity, like data is not being tampered with. So, and we'll talk about protocols and everything that we are going through. So yeah, so sorry. So let me show you how HTTP and HTTPS. So everyone needs, suppose you logged in into a yahoo.com or a google.com. Okay. So what we see, suppose this is a google.com site, and how do you know that is not being tampered with or something like that? This is not the actual URL. So there is a padlock icon here. Connect. It says like connection is secure. And what does it mean? Certificate is valid. So suppose if I open yahoo.com or amazon.com, so what does it mean? Like, like yahoo.com is like this Yahoo is not being tampered with, and how we cannot, how we can recognize. So I think everyone has about Unicode characters. These characters are basically different from the actual characters. So there are two types. If you can see, if there's a G, and then again, and there is a G with a small dot above it. So you know that if you suppose Amazon is there, and if you type on the Amazon, then that G must, this G must not be a Unicode character. It should be actual number, actual letter, so that we know that this is not this is the actual site that we are covering, that we are going to visit the site and making the payment. So we need to have that kind of so what happens, how this works, this connection is secure when it says like how it works. So suppose when we type google.com, so what happens, how my browser calculates that this is a secure site, or this is like the connection is secure, how it's being calculated. So what happens when we type google.com, and then when it hits the server of the Google, the Google server, the Google web server responded with its certificate, and then that certificate is transferred to the browser with its public key. I think everyone, I'm assuming that I'm going a bit technical here, like asymmetric and symmetric encryption and this kind of thing, but it will take just a moment to describe how this connection is secure works. So what happens, in order to show this padlock icon, suppose you are building your own site and you are just publishing it. So how can you make it verified that this is an actual working on the HTTP or HTTPS site? So what happens when we say connection is secure? So when we hit a google.com, yahoo.com, facebook.com, anything, so then what happens, that server, the web server, whatever the servers you are visiting to, gives a certificate along with its public key. That public key, that certificate is verified against the CA authority. And again, when we are verifying the certificate, we need to have some public key as well. So in your system, if you go to the MMC, if you type Windows and MMC, you will get your certificate open. Microsoft Management Console will open, and where you can see all your certificates installed on your system. So that public certificates will be checked against the certificate of your target of your visiting site. And if that CS certificate authority is CA, then that CA is like verifies its integrity of that particular certificate that is being passed. So that will give you the padlock icon. Okay, now that is the type of that connection is being made. But what about the exchange of data? So when we say the data is being exchanged, so that certificate is now verified. So what happens now, the browser creates two symmetric keys, okay, and send this copy of data to the web server. But again, that key generated by the browser symmetric key cannot be sent like publicly to the web server you are visiting to. So what it does, it encrypts the data using the public key earlier sent by the web server, and that is encrypted symmetric key, the copy of the key and the public key is sent again to the particular web server like Amazon. And that is again now the Amazon has already, suppose Amazon or Google has already its public key with it. So that public key that public, the private key, using his private key, the Amazon uses his private key or Google private key to decrypt the copy of the key, shared key, and that key is decrypted. And now the both have the client, the browser and the server, Google or Amazon or anyone has both kind of same key, symmetric key, and using that key, anyone, now we can exchange the data over a secure connection. So this is how the secure connection works. So this is the basic difference between HTTP and HTTPS. So HTTPS, in HTTPS, this is HTTP secure is added in hypertext transfer protocol. So this is how the certificate works in behind the scene when we talk about the HTTPS Google, https.google.com or amazon.com. So this is how the connection is built behind the scene. Now this is a very simple example, and I will share the links from where I have read, and you guys can always go there and give a spare few minutes and you can learn everything. Nowadays the media everything is very easily accessible via internet, so it's really good if you just go. And again, now coming to my slides again. So I just told you about the HTTP and HTTPS, how certificates work behind the scene of a browser and how you can make your Amazon. Now, suppose let's open GoDaddy.com, and suppose I want to I want to build a fake website of let's say Facebook.com. So I don't have to do much work. There's thousands of built-in application which replicate your site and give you all the codes. Black Eye in the Kali Linux, if you worked on the Ubuntu Unix kind of system, then you know already that they have lots of built-in application and shell commands. So we just need to use the Black Eye application and we can give the URL of Amazon.com or Facebook.com, and we'll create a complete site, structure, and give you in the HTML and CSS, and you can host it. Now, suppose I can type for Amazon, but Amazon is not available as taken. So what I'll do, instead of typing Z or O, I will replace this character with Unicode characters. So suppose Unicode character is this. So this may be now available because this Z is a Unicode character and it is not actual Amazon. So whenever you get the link, make sure there is no some kind of point above the Z or point above the O. And if I now search the domain, I think again Amazon.com domain is taken, but instead now this is again taken. So what I will do, I will try to replace O with something like this. And now I can search and we can get something like, now if this kind of available right now, we don't have anything that is available that I can show you. Maybe just try with this. So what happens if you say some URLs like this Amazon.com or something like that, or Facebook.com, then we must not click on those links. We don't care about this kind of small points or small dots, but this site can also be about we can also buy these kind of sites, and we don't actually providing the services like Amazon, but we are just trying to manipulate the user here. So whenever you try to click on the link, just make sure there is no Unicode characters and something like that. It will be hack, or you can just lose your money or anything. So yeah, so this is now moving to the slides. SSL and SSS. SSL is basically like what I said, like secure socket layer. So this is the SSL is again the browser that I showed you how security work. SSH is secure shell. SSH we generally programmers use in order to in order to use GitHub, in order to pass our code from one like repository to our home computer, like our office computer. And FTP is file transfer protocol. We can use it, we can access it using this commands like this. Secure FTP is like we need to have username and password, but open FTP is every organization like ISM and everyone has their own FTP server where they can place their files and everyone can see it. And IMAP and SMTP, I think we all know about the protocols here. So like internet message access protocol and simple mail transfer protocol. So IMAP works for the chat applications. So whenever we chat or whenever we message someone, then IMAP comes into the view. And again, when we talk about SMTP, when we send mails to one to another, which is very frequent now. So SMTP comes into the view, and TCP/IP, how data and how packets are being passed, like over the internet. How, suppose there's one simple, like I'm not going to much detail. If we type godaddy.com, then how our browser, then how this web GoDaddy server knows which tab to transfer its data, because there are multiple tabs open, and multiple application could be in the network. How we are able to view the page when I type the address in the URL bar. This is something you can go and later learn, said how it verifies your tab's identity, like this tab should be open and not in your like adjacent computer tab or something like that. Or if there are multiple browsers, it should go to the Chrome only and that particular tab, because that is request being made from that tab only. And moving this kind of, we can TCP and IP how work. So how, when we talk about security, and how we can, how this works, how this methodology work, how they operate. So what are the methods they follow, and how we can be sure about that? Like this data could be like, what do we look for? When we talk about security, we know security from whom, security from, how we can secure ourselves. There are already cybercrime police stations there are already, I am not popular, I cannot be hacked. These kind of myths are there already. And every person says, I'm not popular, I'm just a kid, what would anyone do, like, if hack me or something like that. And there is another person, like if I'm being hacked, I will know automatically. So these are just myths. You will never know when someone comes in and goes out, you will never have a chance. So reconnaissance and footprinting is like when we monitor your data. Suppose I got a friend request, my name is Ajay and your name is Ajay too, so let's be friend. And I accepted his friend request, and now we are chatting over the Facebook. Or suppose I am your friend's brother, and we should be friends, we are much alike in common. And so this is called social engineering. So what it happens, the hacker trying to be someone else, impersonate itself as someone's friend or someone's like sibling or anything. And that is like, I'm being that person, I'm trying to manipulate you in order to gain your information. So as much information, how do you do, what do you like, what are your hobbies, what is your catchphrase that you frequently use, and that catchphrase, and then you share your catchphrase, and then that catchphrase will later use as a password, and then it can open it. So I will tell you a story. My one of my friend was going from one place to, let's say, place one to place A to place B, sitting in a bus. It's like in Bhubaneswar. I was in Bhubaneswar at that time. So the attacker was sitting beside him, and he come in with this like, my ATM is not working. So he asked, and what should I do? I'm not sure how my ATM operates. So you try explaining him, the attacker. You try explaining your attacker like the ATM works, like you need to insert it and you need to enter your PIN, and then he will try to manipulate what will you do if your ATM is being placed, what is your PIN. It will try to like come into the conversation, and he will say like, oh, this seems like a very poor and illiterate kind of person, what he can do. So this kind of things that happens, and we need to be make sure that whatever the information we share to the unknown, it should be like that not concern your anything like public personal information. So at later point of time when he was traveling through bus, he was he shared his ATM number. He didn't share his no like ATM pin. He changed his number, but just to give the example, like to that particular attacker, he shared his pin. So the attacker assumes like he shared his actual pin, and he gave him a Chlormint chocolate, a very small chocolate, and let's enjoy it. And just like I am having a spare part of it, if you want to have it. And after 1.5 days, he was like he didn't wake up till that chocolate contains, I don't know what kind of um, uh, chemicals it contains. So that chocolate that put him into the sleep for 1.5 days, and all of his assets like ATM, wallet, bags, all were stolen. So that was one incident that I had to encounter with my friends. And how this is kind of no social engineering identity theft, that I said like is want to be in your sister or want to be your brother, like brother's friend, and we have so much in common, why shouldn't we hang out, why we should be hanging out and everything. Phishing is someone like phishing, and spoofing is someone like we want to pretend something and we want to change something, like I showed you the Unicode character, we gave you a link, like you have this amazing Dasara offer, and you can go and click and win exciting prizes, something like that. So that we should not be fall into that this kind of traps or anything. Like it's very easy to click, and one click can lose to like a lot of money. So recently what what in tradition was like, people will call you, a person will call you and say like, you are using phone pay and you are using Google Pay, you want a prize, you just need to enter the OTP, go to, I will direct you how you can use that, and then everything will be like you will win 2,000 or 10,000 rupees. Also, we now coming to the unpatched software. Uh, how many of you, I think a lot of you has heard about Patching Tuesdays. Patching Tuesday is officially, this is on it was earlier an unofficial term, but now Microsoft has made it official. On every second Tuesday of the month, it will announce some patches available or not. So every Tuesday of the month, like patching, if you look for Patching Tuesday, you can find it, and you can see like how Microsoft and other companies like Oracle, IBM came into the view. Like it should always be updated with the latest antivirus and software, so that no one can exploit you in order to gain your access and everything. Also need to any time of, like you have seen those movies, like Matrix and everything. So don't be like, if I don't be like, if I am the one and I got this kind of, what will happen? Nothing will happen. I don't have anything. I just have movies and everything. But apart from that, what your data, your browser contains cookies, your browser contains, like some anything. I will show you how browser transmit data over the internet. But if once attacker inside your system, he can look for anything. He can look for every key you type, like using a keylogger. There's simple keylogger application which can type you every key that you type. You can check for that. You can have that. And we can always use viruses or malwares. Malware is a very wide term. It contains all the antivirus, it contains all the virus, worms, everything. In one term, we can say malware. So we need to have be protected against this, so that we cannot be get exploited again. So what kind of attacks we are looking for here? So what is like how we are getting, how can we be attacked? Okay, so like a brute force attack is there. You have 4-digit pin on your phone. So what happens? Suppose you have 4-digit pin, then that 4-digit can easily be like, that can easily be calculated. Like a simple computer can make in a loop and easily calculate your 4-digit pin. So brute force attack is like trying each number one by one, and then each you can try each number one by one, and ultimately one will succeed. Okay, now spoofing is like pretending someone else, sending emails, and that is like you win 1,000 rupees prize, you win like $1 million and everything else. So spoofing is like being someone, sending a mail, and you can reply, you can click on the links. Suppose your amazing link is not working, or whatever the latest order you have placed is now expired, or the payment is not successful. This kind of mails you can get. Or suppose you are using YouTube videos, or you are using Instagram videos, and suppose suddenly you are getting one mail like your video that you uploaded is not a valid content. You need to re-upload it, and you click on that link and you just redirect it to something else. You can redirect it to some PayPal account, and you need to have that in mind before you clicking any one of the link. So now bots and botnets. So what happens? Suppose you have a machine is targeting another machine. So bots is like pre-programmed computers that attack something, and then that attack can be like targeted to a specific people or a specific organization. And botnets is like a collection of bots is targeting from different server to a particular organization, so that if you hit on a wall, like continuously hit on a brick wall from a brick, it will break ultimately. So that comes to the DOS attack, denial of service. So there was one country, Estonia, there, and that country was mainly using internet services applications. So what happens? There was some allegations about the Russia, that Russia tried to DOS attack or DDoS attack on the Estonia, so that anything related to internet won't work. So what happens? There is a limit to any server. Suppose you are using your web server, you are hosted your site in the IS server. So that server has some particular configuration, like 2 GB RAM or 2 GB RAM and 100 MB of memory, or 2 GB of memory, something like that. So that can only take a particular limit of hits. When I say hits, a particular number of users simultaneously access your sites. Okay. So only 100, suppose let's say thousands people can simultaneously enter into your site. And when 101% try to enter your site, it will say the site is not reachable, or we cannot find the address, because the server cannot take after a limit of site. Okay. So when that kind of attack happens, your server stop responding, and every server has a limit. So there are different way to deal with. Web farms are there, DMG servers are there. I personally worked on the DMG servers a long time ago, and and that DOS, denial of service. So when the server stops responding, your internet is down. So your country is basically, whatever the news, whatever the banking transaction, whatever you are doing, that will be like, stopped working for you, and that would be a big disaster for your country. Ping attack is a kind of, in order to have DOS attack, suppose you are working from a server, and let me open my terminal. Okay. And what happens? Suppose I am just trying to ping google.com. So it gave me a response of that this server is up and we are running. Now what happens? It continuously hitting the google.com and checking the request for that. Okay. So it will continue running, and then it is automatically hitting. Now suppose this terminal is open at 1,000 servers with 1,000 different locations. So Google will never know if it is being hit by the a browser or a terminal. And then I can run in multiple terminals, and ultimately what I can do, I can make it down, but Google is a very big server, so not applicable to that right now. Single computer, we need to have a supercomputer for that. Anyway, they have their own servers, and let's not talk about that in this session. And malwares is basically any virus that you encounter that replicates itself, worms, and again, it could be anything like Trojans, and whatever we heard about this. These malware, spyware, adware are there that comes into the system, replicates files. It may look like a legitimate service to you. So there's a startup in the Windows, and there's a startup in Mac OS. So what happens when we try to we will see that this is a legitimate Microsoft application. We must not delete it. And there is a rootkit applications are there which start before your system starts, so that you will never know, when we can never shut down, and we cannot delete it, have all the access and everything. So these kind of software malwares we have, and we need to be fully updated kind of thing in order to have that be secured. Ransomware is basically when we hit a target or a particular company, organization, and we ask for money. A lot of happened in the recent years, and I will show you one video, and that video is how I will show you the link. I will share the link if time allows. Then I also play the video in this session, and then we can see how the ransomware work. And this is particular organization and everything. How we can if anyone has question, ask, or please. Yeah, so defense is how we can be secure ourselves. How the security implies. We need to have latest antivirus in our mobile, in our system. Okay, people have might idea, I'm using an Android phone, so I don't need an antivirus. I'm using a MacBook, and I don't need antivirus. It is only applicable to Windows. This is not the case. If I'm building an application if I'm building a virus for my Windows, I can easily build it for Mac and other application as well. So it took me a year, or it will take me 6 months, but obviously anyone can build that. Encryption that I showed you, certificate, authority, and encryption. You can encrypt your data. Encryption is a two-way process. It could also be decrypted. But hashing is a one-way process. When I build a site or when I build an application or I build a game application and I want to store user password or user sensitive information and I want to match against something else. And suppose there is a password. I would never want to, decrypt my password, because when I try to log in into, like, let me show you a very simple example of Twitter.com. A very, very simple example of Twitter. Everyone nowadays uses, like most of the people uses Twitter.com. So let's say I have opened Twitter.com and I have gone through sign in process. Okay. And sign in, use phone and email address. And let me open my network tab and I will show you what is happening behind the scene. So anyone can do that in your system. So suppose my URL is InviAjay, my username is InviAjay, or we can simply say Ajay_Verma@hello.com. I just enter it. I'll just use a dummy password. So what happens? It made a request. Okay. So that request is easily visible. Okay. So that request is easily visible when I try to enter in your network. So someone is using if you're using a public Wi-Fi, so you will never ensure that public Wi-Fi is secured, because that transmission over the network can easily be seen by any router that you are using or any public router. There are some applications like Fiddler is there and Postman is there, which we can use to check all the activity within our Chrome, within our system, not only Chrome. There are multiple ways to access internet, so we can use internet using the terminal. I just use the ping command. We can use this Twitter. So my first name, I think, okay, so this is the username that is seen here. So let me log in again. And now, so I went to the password screen. Now the first command that I used contains my email ID, which is easily seen by the network. And somewhere in any task, we need to have this kind of text contains Ajay_Verma@outlook.com. So it is easily visible. Now suppose I password my as password. So this is not visible to you, but when I click on, now I do have Ajay_Verma@outlook.com. So let me clear this one and now try to log in me. Now when I log in, I get a 400 command. My username password is wrong, but as you can see, suppose this is the valid command. Suppose this would be my valid. Then my password is seen here as password. Now let me try something like password 123, password 123, and again when I log in here, and I can see the 400 request is there. 400 like bad request. So because username is, my password is wrong, I'm intentionally writing a password wrong, but my password 123 is shown here. So using your public Wi-Fi makes you vulnerable against your username password. So after, suppose you will try to access like 1 or 2, 3 times or 3 times, then your username password is easily visible to your router, and that router can easily be hacked or easily be configured to store this kind of data in a particular database server, and we can access all the information. So it's not advisable to use public Wi-Fi, because username and password is, Twitter is a very big application and lots of people are using it. And we cannot rely upon the Twitter security, because the main security that we need to have is like it is with us. So the weakest link is us that we need to encounter. So we need to have this kind of awareness, like we should not use public Wi-Fi, we should not use untrusted site and something like that. So this can be stored easily, like if we can, this payload is easily being monitored there are a lot of applications and services there. So basically password 123 is like not a good password anyway. So yeah, there are DMZ servers, firewalls are there. Suppose you are using your ISM network, internet over internet, okay, but you don't want to you want to access your google.com, but you also don't want to expose it to the outside internet. Then what you do, you put a DMZ server within that, and that DMZ server is like protected by firewalls. So whatever you want to hit, suppose you want to hit yahoo.com, it goes to the DMZ server. that is the server which is protected by the firewall, but your intranet is that not much capable to protect itself. So it is being used by DMG server. That server access that yahoo.com and passes that request to you. So whatever your LAN or whatever your internet have internet access to it can be configured via a DMG server, or a single firewall can also do. But we can monitor how we can access, we can monitor, we can check how with this data can we configure ourselves. Okay, and we assume we have a strong password, so we don't have anything, we won't, like we have a strong password, so there won't be anything with happen. But strong password, and we have a very long password like jumping old lady, it won't help you to get your data protected. Jumping old lady can anyone guess, so it's a very long password doesn't mean you are secure. And we need to password monitoring is like we need to change our password from time to time. Don't use public password, saving applications. There's lots of application out there which encourages to save all your password in one place and log in using that. So I won't encourage you to use that, because that might be get hacked and your password get leaked. And that leaked password can be used to use in other application. Suppose you are working for an ABC company or XYZ company, and your password is same for your Facebook and password is same for your work account. Then that password is hacked. Then they can use that password to use your work account as well, which is not secure. OTP is basically people call you. So there was one of my friend, and he get a call from some bank manager, you know, impersonating as a bank manager. He said like, I'm calling from this branch. It's like ISM branch, ISM SBI branch. Let's be clear. I live in the ISM. So ISM Jagjeevan Nagar branch, SBI Jagjeevan Nagar branch. And he said, I am the branch manager, and you have your account with me, and I need your OTP that I've sent you. So that my friend, check that, open that, and he said like, don't share this OTP. It's for 10,000 rupees transaction. So he can be impersonating as a branch manager of the SBI, and he said like, it is saying so because of this and this, but you need to share your OTP with us. I'm calling from this bank, I'm a branch manager, and you need to share your OTP with me. So never do that. People try to be someone else, a legitimate officer or a government official, and they will ask you like, what is your OTP? If you won't tell me, you will go to jail. I will come to you, a file. Suppose I'm that police, and then I will file a complaint against you if you don't share your OTP. So this happens. This happened with one of my friend, and it can happen to you as well. USB storage is simply, we are not allowed, if late in your future, if you are going through very reputed IIT, you are learning for IIT or IIT student, so you will going to work for MNC. So USB is not allowed within your organization, because that USB can contain malicious software and can corrupt your office data. You can also, there is a that unwanted copy of the data can be transformed from USB to system, and system to USB. So I think don'ts I have already covered. This slide is no more, I think don't entertain WhatsApp. There's a WhatsApp messages, WhatsApp posts are there. Click on this link, get unlimited. And like there was one link that says, if you click on this link right now, Amazon, and you will allow access, you will get your any product for a day for rupee 1 only. So these kind of, lures are there. So we must avoid those kind of lures called honey traps. Like, I will get anything from 1 rupee if I click on that link, or if I put name or email there, if you want to sign up, and I can get everything for 1 rupee or 10 rupees. So that never happens. That never happens in real world. So we make sure. And I think I have covered from this slide as well. Yeah, the myths are, I'm safe, or I'm safe because I'm not rich or popular. Why would someone hack me? Friends, do not send phishing bad links. Don't, if you get a message on your WhatsApp and it's from your trusted friend or a good best friend, doesn't mean that he's not been tricked, or he's not being tricked, or he's not using as like something like, you can always trust. Check the link, even if you are, it's from a friend or family or anyone, he might be tricked into something like that you're not aware of, like send this to 10 people and you will get a rewarding prize, something like that. So be sure before accessing the link. Check for Unicode characters, check for dots and everything. And we will never know when you are hacked, simple as that. So I will going to play a video for you. It will hardly take 3 minutes. And that video is published by Cisco. And that Cisco is a big company and it publishes router and everything. Everyone knows about the Cisco. So when you go to the Cisco site and when you click on this, watch a cyber attack unfold, how a cyber attack happens, I'm going to share my system sound. It will take around 3 to 4 minutes. I will give you the link. And what happens, this is basically,
how did you decide to become a hacker?
This is how she impersonates as the owner of the company.
That's like some guy in a hoodie
busy being to the mark.
and stays up all night
So
writing code and cracking passwords.
let's just watch it and then we
Not
can.
me. I just spy on people and see what makes them click.
So this is the part where she is, collecting
Not a bad
data
job.
about the Mark. Mark is being a CEO of the company. So she is preparing how she is preparing, about him, reading everything, like, she is reading about him, what are the activities, how he writes, how he does
Not
anything.
lazy. It takes research to figure out the key players.
She's just
and
researching
learn
everything
them,
about him,
their
and
families, their friends, what they care about. You have to understand the company's organization. I get a lot of my information from the sales department because they're always so quick and eager. They're hungry.
so this is just
Trust
calling their
too
support,
easily.
to
They
get
don't
the
look at the
information. And
details.
this
I do.
she changed I to L so that no one would be, cares that much. So now it's not Callicart, it's Callcart. So she's changed the domain. She make that email address from its domain and create, we can always create
That's what I'm
domain
good at.
email addresses from
It
particular
has to look
domain.
completely believable. It
And
has to look familiar.
just getting
This
a
is where
copy of
research
his
is
signature.
important. It's not some generic piece of spam. It's an email from their boss with their company's signature. It's written in the voice of the boss. It's what he would say if he were writing this.
What about the malware itself? How does that work?
Somebody else out there already.
So there was question like how what about the malwares? How you are going to, crack the company organization and be the malware, how you can attack that. So what happens is that I don't have to write any code for the malware. That is already written by somewhere dark world or dark net. And that I'm just copying its code and just putting it as an attachment there.
Does the actual
And
attack.
that
I'm
attachment
using it in the
is once downloaded
My skill
to the
is in my
company
ability to get
server or
enough people
company
to
internet.
click on that attachment.
She's attaching
I always
those
wonder
as a
what it's like
PDF,
when the whole thing
like
unfolds on
whatever
there
the malware is already
when
written.
the panic
She's not
sets
writing
in.
anything. She's just researching about how Mark operates, how Mark does, copying his signature and sending a simple mail to its employee. And now whenever the PDF is being opened, everything is being crashed.
Apparently, there's a malware attack targeting our main.
It's ransomware. They're holding us hostage. We're locked out of everything. I can't even check my phone. What about the backup?
That will take days.
We need to
So
check
there
the-
was this interview with the FBI agent in the US, and he said like, it's very easy to provide ransom, to give money and take the unlock key. So rather than just going to decrypt the ransom, like this Trojan or anything like. So this is a ransomware. So this is how they hacked on the system, being a simple application, writing a simple application, and everything, it can be attacked. So there are certain YouTube channels as well where you can go and see how they work. So Scammer Payback is a kind of channel where it shows how scams work. So how they can expose your scammers, and you can go and check with everything. And there is one like how they run that simple tree command in your command prompt and see there are so many viruses there. So they detailed about every how they operate, like bit to bit, like you can check you can go how they operate, what are the software they are using. Even they can show you inside their office how they are operating here. You can see, just look for, and you can watch their pattern. You can be sure like, okay, this is how they work and how we can expose themselves. So it's just a kind of thing. You can also do that, why they are asking for gift card. Give me a gift card and you will get your money back or something like that. So yeah, I will share the links in the future if I get a chance to share my PPT. But yeah, that's it. I think I'm running out of time now. So that's it from my side. Thank you. It's an really honor to speak. Thank you very much.
No. Any questions? Is anyone interested in asking any question? If you have. Okay. So on behalf, this was an enriching session. And on behalf of IIT ISM, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Ajay for
Thank you, ma'am.
this enriching session, and the way you explained each and everything, the complex terms that you explained, and made us understand those terms very easily. It was an enriching session, and your efforts are really commendable, and I really thank you. I also thank Professor Shalivahan, the Deputy Director, who took time out from his busy schedule and was here to give his opening, open up this workshop. Second is, I also would like to thank Professor Abhishek Singh, without whose help this event wouldn't have seen the light of the day. I also thank Prashant, and also I extend my thanks to Professor Rajani Singh, who made it possible to really put this event in the media and inform everyone about the importance and convince the students who were a part of this event. So at the end, I thank each and every one of you who have taken time out, and I hope we have learned something. The series will definitely go on, and we'll see more and learn more and be vigilant, because that is something which is warranted. Now that we know the threats are looming everywhere, it calls upon us to be more cautious, so that we are able to save ourselves from any disastrous attacks and protect our privacy. Because now, after seeing this session, I feel that whatever we feel is private and personal and safe is no longer, because there is a third eye about whom you do not know and is keeping a track on everything that we are doing. So a very dangerous proposition, but we'll definitely learn more and be vigilant. The do's that he talked about, not sharing personal information, not making friends with unknown people, not giving access to other people, not using a public Wi-Fi system or visiting untrusted sites, is something which we need to be very cautious about, and we need to follow certain rules religiously. So thank you everyone for being here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ajay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.